welcome back to Arcade Sunday. It's 2022. This is the first video for the year, and it just happens to be a shoot 'em up Saturday episode. Today we're going to have a look at Last Duel by Capcom in 1988 and Terra Crester by Nichibitsu in 1985. It's Arcade Sunday. Alright, so I'm doing a voiceover here, and I'm just going to kind of commentate as we go along. I think it's going to be easier. Again, this game is unique in that it's you can speed up and slow down your movements with up and down on the joystick. Left and right obviously moves you left and right. Button 2 is jump, button 1 is fire. So there's a hole in the ground and jump over it. So there's occasions where you need to jump over things like those holes, and also you can jump over enemies if you're quick enough to land in the correct spot. Now this game I say is tricky. Like now, as you're turning left and right, so you can't really see what's coming on the road there. So it's a bit difficult. You kind of have to have played a few times to understand where these guys are coming from and how to sort of avoid or get rid of them. That was a terrible, unnecessary loss of a life. Anyway, again, it's not. I don't really play Last Duel too often. I'm not really that good at it at all. I don't profess to be any kind of high score player, as you can see. It is fun though. It's just something different from a regular sort of traditional shoot 'em up. Slightly different kind of challenge. Now this game was released by Capcom, and a lot of the sound effects in the game are very Capcom-esque. So if you hear a couple of the audio samples and some of the BGM, you will definitely recognize them as very Capcom of the era. This is a 1988 game, so expect 88 kind of sounds. So here's the first boss. Fairly easy. I think I made it a bit more difficult than it should have been, but I did get past it. Just basically avoid these swinging dragon heads, and eventually they start shooting lasers. There we go. So lasers are quite dangerous and they're a little bit unpredictable, like that. I just got stuck in the corner there, didn't know a laser was coming, so I lost the life. So anyway, so quite straightforward boss, not really very challenging, honestly. If you know its patterns and if you can work out when that laser is going to come, then that will really help you. So yes, just get rid of this guy. Alright, so here's the next unique part of this game, or unique thing about this game. They actually morph into a flying craft, which is pretty cool. So now you takes on a different guise as a flying shoot 'em up in the more traditional sense. You shoot those collections of enemies for extra point bonuses, very much like a lot of the other Capcom shooters. I think X's comes to mind of a similar time period, although a little bit older. It was in 1985, I believe. Definitely play X's if you haven't. That's another really great Capcom game from the 80s. So now you're sort of breaking a path through this plantation and getting out of there. So here comes quite a tricky part. Those sort of flying worms, you can't destroy the spawning unit there, but you can shoot down the worms. Yeah, so it's a bit tough to know when they're coming out. Again, this is just a matter of just watching very carefully and having to be quite precise on the control to avoid all these hits. I think I do get hit shortly. Yeah, quite a challenging part. Okay, so I made it through. Oh, I just got overwhelmed there. Okay, and that's a game of Last Duel. Alright, let's play some Terra Crester. 1 point. Okay, so Terra Crester is certainly something I did play quite a bit of when I was growing up. I really enjoyed this game. It was at a local arcade. I'm sure you've heard that story before, but it's still true. In any event, first stage is pretty straightforward. If you haven't played before, you basically collect those numbered items to power up your ship. And then button 1 is shoot, button 2 is break or disengage. So you come together after a time limit. At the bottom there's starts with a 3-letter F for fire, or for formation, I think F stands for. So once you press formation, which is button 2, your ship will break up and into different ways depending on what upgrades you have. So you'll see now I'll break up shortly, or formation change shortly, and there'll be 2 head ships, there we go, and 1 in the rear. Now the one in the rear is actually your main ship, so don't let yourself get hit by that ship. The other ones can traverse enemies and terrain, and so it can be used quite strategically in certain parts of the game to shoot over things, or to send the 2/4 into attacks like that. So you basically do a lot of damage pretty quickly with that break up or formation change. Okay, so the first boss is coming up now. Should be quite straightforward. So with the right power up, that is very straightforward. That was very textbook. The bosses do get super tough though, as you will see as we go along this game here. Okay, so that's just a basic formation. Okay, so let's go. Okay, break up. You should always try and use the formations left over instead of letting it go to waste, because you'll have a little bit of time in between the new power up. Oh, I mess up. The new power up and the formation timeout. Again, it'll become apparent if you actually play the game, but it's hard to explain. Nonetheless, now at the rear of your ship, you've got that little wavy background. Not anymore. Once you come together, you'll have a little wavy shield at the back that you can actually ride over small enemies. In fact, it's gone now because the formation changed. This is probably one of the strangest formations and probably one of the most destructive. There's one more, I think it's after collecting number 4. Okay, so there's a little wavy thing at the back of the ship. It's like a shield. Okay, so now you'll see something interesting. Now I've got enough power-ups to form the Firebird. So that's pretty cool. Now that Firebird, you're completely invincible, or invincible to all enemy attacks. It doesn't last very long though. But it's quite a nice little thing to do. Okay, so there's a little trick part coming out. I think I completely stuffed it up there. Yeah, I do. So there's a huge point multiplier possibility over there at that point there, but I didn't do it right. Okay, so carry on going, and we are coming to boss number 2 now. You'll see how hard this is. I've already lost my firepower. Now it's pretty difficult, and then you easily get attacked or taken down by these enemies that are flying around in such quick patterns. It's very hard to try and hook onto their patterns. Okay, I'll see how I do this any better now. That little thing, you blow it up. I missed it again. Oh man. Okay, there'll be another time. I think I don't make it through here now. So let's just get rid of these guys here. Take the power up. Okay, so now I've got a good amount of firepower for this boss, but still, I don't think I made it this time. This takes an incredible amount of firepower to take down the second boss. Now, very difficult game. Mostly, I was able to avoid a lot of those enemy attacks, but as you can see, just overwhelmed basically. Okay, so I believe I make it through this time and do this special trick there. No, some things got taken out. You see there's at 1,000 points, 1,000 points. Effectively, if you shoot that shot in the right place, you get a lot of 1,000 point bonuses all in once. It's quite a nice little achievement if you can do it. Okay, so now back to this boss now again. Third time up against this boss. Jeez, it's tough, very tough. So far so good. I kind of needed back shield, as you can see. I'm kind of like batting off the attacks. Okay, so I've got him. So yeah, if you're not in the right firepower, there's just no way you're going to get past that boss, unfortunately. Okay, so starting out level 3 or part 3, I don't know, there's not really levels in this game. It's like one of those like more old school shoot 'em ups. There's no actual breaks between stages. It's just a boss that really notifies you that you've got to the next stage. Yeah, I've been taken out there. And those guys also. There's very, very quick enemies in this game. I believe it's very challenging to play this. And I think it'll be a hard game to pick up for a new player, I believe, unless you're really up for a challenge. Enemies' relentless attacks, those sweeping attacks with this patterns of this. Yeah. For some reason, I still enjoy the game. As everything comes together, that's when you start enjoying this game. When things start working and your power-ups start, collecting in the order that you want them, and it becomes really enjoyable. Okay, so I believe we're going to make it through to the third boss. There he is. But gee, this is also just as tough as boss number 2. Now, I don't make it through here, but again, just such quick reactions required. So that's Arcade Sunday for now. I hope you have a great 2022, and I hope you have a great arcade gaming year. Arcade Sunday out.